In this video, let's talk about the subqueries. We usually select the data directly from the tables and let's say from the views, but sometimes we need to get the data from the results of another select statement, right? So we can do this using, let's say, the subqueries or SQL subqueries. SQL subqueries can be used in three different parts of the select statement. One is select values, and then second is from the from clause, and the third one is from the where clause. Right. So let's try three of them one by one, and then see how the subqueries can be created at the three different places. Okay, let's connect to the database, and then let's change it to the financial data. Are we not connected? Yeah. And then database, we have financial data, right? So let's write a new query, and then we can create a subquery based on that. See, one of the important point, or let's say one of the important concept while writing the subquery is to use prefixes, because it increases the readability as well as not only the readability, but prefixes are very much important when we are creating a subquery. So let's start with using the subquery from the select statement. Let's change this. Right. So first, let's do our most common thing. Let's use a select statement. Select star from the table. Now, what we are basically trying to achieve is to write a subquery within this select statement, and we will create, or let's say we will calculate the average price at the sector level, right? So let's say I'll say description, then I need sector, and then let's say we need the price, right? So these are the three main columns that we would like to get. Now I would like to have the price as average price on the sector level. So for that, let's first give a alias name as T1, let's say, right? If we are giving it as a T1, or let's give it as T1, then you should make sure that you are giving the alias or the prefixes to the column name as well. Otherwise, right now it's very simple, but in the future, or let's say when the query gets bigger and bigger every time, it will be really tough for you to know, or let's say the debugging will be really tough with the query being more complex, right? Okay, so now let's write a select statement. So let's say select stock price from this column itself, right? Or this table, sorry, from this table, and let's give it as T2. Now let's run this. So we have the price. Now what I'm saying is I need the average price, right? Average price from this. Now since we have average, this is the average. Now what I'm saying is the sector of this table should be equal to the sector of this table, right? Then only we will have the average for each sector, right? So otherwise what it will have, or it will have a incorrect data. So let's say t1 dot sector, t1 dot sector should be equal to t2 dot sector, right? And as sector average, I think we needs to have a condition here where t1 dot sector, which is this t1 dot sector, should be equal to the t2 sector. The why we are doing, because we need the corresponding data of, let's say, t1 dot ticker, right? So we need the average of each sector based on this ticker, or let's say this description. So let's run this. So now if you see, we have the ticker, right? We have description, the sector, price. Now this sector average is basically the average of finance sector price, right? The price of this particular sector. For an example, if you see this sector finance and this one, both are having 298.21, 298.21, or let's say this producer manufacturing is having 770 and 770. So what we have done, we used a select statement within the select statement, and then we created average data on the basis of the sector. So this is the one way, like I mentioned. Now The second way is using from the from condition, or let's say from syntax. Now, what we would like to have, so these are the queries which I normally use almost like on the daily basis. Subqueries are really important when it comes to, let's say, your job profile. Now, what I would like to have is again the average of the stock price based on sector, but the stock price should be greater than, let's say, 100, right? So first, let's create a select query. What I'm saying, I need the price from this table. So price. Now I want based on the sector. Let's say sector price, and then I want average price. So since I need it on the sector level, I will do group by as well, right? So group by. But before that, like I mentioned, I need to okay, let's not do the average over here. Otherwise, there's no point of creating this whole query itself. So what I want first is the price, and where price should be greater than 100, right? So this is what the sorry, this is what the data is, right? Now let's create this as a subquery. So what I'm saying is let's make it as T1, right? T1. Now I need the price, which is an average. So let's say select sector and the price from below table, right? So right now from below table. Now table is basically now it's the T1, right? Okay, now but what I want is basically the average price. So I'm saying average price. For to create the average price, now I need to have the group by, right? Because I need to create average based on the sector. So, but now the group by should be done on the T1 level. So what I would say that group by T1 dot sector, right? And then let's try. So this is the data that we have. So we have sector and then the average price. Average price can also be again rounded to, let's say, 2 decimal places. So this is what it is. So what we did over here, basically, we created a subquery first, which basically gives you the price greater than 100. No, me, which is basically greater than 100. So first we filtered the data based on price, which is greater than 100. And then we created it as alias as T1. So basically now T1 is the table, new table from which this select statement is being created. Now for this select statement to work on, let's say to create the average price, we need to have the sector as well. And on the sector level, we created a group by. So how do we have this T1? Is T1 is coming from this table because we created the alias of this whole query. Right, so this is how you create a subquery based on, or let's say how you use the subquery in the from condition. Now, last but not the least, you can use the same with the help of where condition as well. Now, what we are trying to do here is basically we are trying to find the maximum stock price, or let's say we are trying to find the sector which has the maximum stock price, right? There are multiple ways of creating it, but since we are trying to achieve it with a subquery, we will do this with this approach. Okay, so let's say we have select have max price, right, from this table. So we have this price. Now let's give this table as T2. Why? Because we are again going to create one more query. So let's say select sector from T1 where the price should be equal to this select statement, the price. So now see, you basically don't need to write the alias of T1 or T1 or T2, but it's always recommended. The reason being it increases the readability as well as the with the increment, or let's say with more queries being, or let's say when this query gets bigger and bigger, it will be really tough to do the debugging part. So it's always recommended to use the alias name as much as. So we have T1 dot sector, and then we have T1 dot price, right? And let's say T2 dot. I think that's it. So this sector is having the highest price. Now, if you would like to see what was the price, so we can say, so this is the sector and this is the price, which is the maximum. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye. Take care.